The reveal of the World of Warcraft Midnight Cinematic is almost upon us with Gamescom, but we have some teasers, some lore to go over and react to. We have a lot to talk about today, and let's get right on into reacting to the final cutscene of 11.2, and also breaking down the doorstep teaser trailer. Hello everyone, I am Jmulls, and let's get into it. After repeatedly failing to find a group that can get past even Phase 2 of Dimensius, let's react to the cinematic on Wowhead's YouTube channel the way the WoW story is meant to be consumed. Let's dive on into this. Okay, so Lyria's with us, with Locust Walker.
Dimensius is gone.
Not gone, but contained within the dark heart.
Okay, so we didn't kill Dimensius.
A fitting end for her.
Okay.
No. Wait!
That was a trap. So is Locust Walker being consumed by the Dark Heart, or is Xal'atath manifesting in Locust Walker? Cool visual imagery, though. Dang! The fade to black as well? Okay. Oh, this is a nice little cutscene we have here. Good cinematography, good pacing.
You... What did you do?
I kept my promise. Together, we vanquished Dimensius. And I now have all I need to claim what is mine. Oh, this has been a delight, Illyria. But our little game is over. When next we meet, I will take everything you love.
Oh, I love the imagery here. Oh, I love the imagery here. I'm gonna say that again for emphasis. I love the imagery here with, like, the burning reishi wrap as well. Oh, that is a nice touch. I love the way this entire cutscene was framed. That was really nice. So Locust Walker essentially got the Khadgar treatment from the beginning of the game, meaning he might come back at some point, and they are setting up Xal'atath to be the big bad guy going forward. I am glad we have a villain that is spanning multiple different expansions. I know the World Soul Saga, right? But, like, they could have easily have pivoted Xal'atath over to being like a pseudo good guy, like an anti-hero. I am glad they have not gone in that direction. I like the fact that it was kind of obvious she would betray us, but she did end up betraying us. I thought the way they teased that in 11.2 was a bit heavy-handed, and they have also not closed the book on Dimensius. We just essentially trapped him in the Dark Heart. And with that little teaser image they had for Midnight a while back, showing a bunch of, like, Void Lord-like entities over Silvermoon, I wonder just what the direction they're going to go will be. Like, we're going to have to get a power upgrade at some point here to deal with these things, because they made out Dimensius to be this world-ending cataclysm, and we did end up dealing with him largely in a patch, even though we've just relegated him to this doohickey. But if we're going to be dealing with multiple of these guys, multiple entities that are of this power level, then what are we gonna get? Like, maybe an 80-man raid? Who knows? I think it's an interesting way to end the War Within, because it is kind of a loss, even if we won in the raid. Xal'atath came out ahead, even more so than us. And unless there was some kind of flavor text in the cutscenes or the quest line after this point that confirms that Locust Walker is actually dead, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the other narrative plot threads we're going to be tugging on throughout Midnight is finding a way to save Locust Walker or get him back, kind of like how we managed with Khadgar. I think overall, though, this was a really cool cutscene. I like it. I can understand why some people might be a bit disappointed with this being the ending of the War Within, but I think it's a decent enough of a segue going into Midnight. I know a lot of people were kind of expecting Dimensius himself to win, and, like, he might be on Fraud Watch, right? Because, again, big bad entity we deal with in one patch. But I do think Xal'atath is a way more interesting character than Dimensius, because she's just had more screen time. So positioning her to be the one out ahead at the end of this all is not necessarily an idea that I'm against overall. But now let's move on over to the Midnight Cinematic Tease. doorsteps. Or I guess just doorstep. Okay, let's get into this. Now, I will say I have already seen this teaser, but now that I have the context from the end of The War Within, I think we can break it down a little bit more here. So let's watch it once through, and then go back to talk about a few key little scenes here. So we start with this scene of Stormwind, with a wavy sky. We had that little jump cut of Xal'atath and a kneeling elf. We'll be getting back to that point. The world is becoming darkened here because the void is coming. That's a big tagline going for The War Within's ending transition into Midnight. We have another showcase of Xal'atath. I think those little, like, snippets, those frame-long little cuts are going to be little scenes from the full cinematic we're going to get at Gamescom. Doesn't really make sense to me that they would render specific scenes of Xal'atath there and not just take them from the cinematic they're doing for Gamescom, which we know is coming. And yeah, just like over your house, you see the void is coming. This is a big visual they already showed off in that one teaser image for Midnight with the Void Lords descending, or what you assume to be the Void Lords descending upon Silvermoon. We have, in a way that feels scarily reminiscent to Shadowlands, the sky essentially opening up a rift to another world, such another, like, dimension. We're just going to really hope this goes better than the last time that's happened. Though we do have another elf-like character essentially being the one to open up this rift. There's a lot of parallels to Shadowlands, and I don't know how to feel about that. If they even say the word covenants during this reveal, we're cooked. And with the power of techno-wizardry, I've managed to get a specific frame here that showcases Xal'atath and this kneeling elf. I know quite a few people theorize that this is Lorthamar Theron. I think it looks a little bit different, especially with, like, the tufts of fur all the way over there. Maybe it's just like you got a new redesign and that's what they're going with here. Or it's just insert other elf here. But I think it's going to be fair to say that the Midnight Cinematic's going to heavily feature Xal'atath here, because it's like scenes like this that just look like Blizzard in their bag when it comes to a cinematic. This absolutely probably just comes from that Midnight reveal cinematic we're getting at Gamescom. I mean, look, it's a Blizzard cinematic. It looks really dang good. Like always. And I do wonder if this will be a perpetual state the world will have over the course of Midnight. Or at least to some degree, like maybe a new weather effect. Or it's only over certain locations where the world is essentially opening up rifts to the void itself. Or, like, who knows, maybe it's just the pre-launch event for Midnight. We have another little screen grab here of Xal'atath standing in front of some kind of wall that has carvings into it, or some kind of artwork. Somewhat reminds me of those, like, Titanic rings we see in the Last Titan logo for World of Warcraft. Possibly someplace also in Quel'Tha Lost, which is where I imagine this entire trailer will be taking place, probably right near the Sunwell, or right outside of Silvermoon, somewhere in that vicinity, considering Midnight takes place in Quel'Tha Lost. We have some interesting glow behind Xal'atath in this one specifically, that to me kind of looks like she's overtaking the Sunwell, because it doesn't look like it's fire. I don't think anything's necessarily on fire or in an inferno here, considering her whole shtick is the void. It doesn't look like a void portal either, because a void portal that we've seen for Midnight looks more purpley blue. I wouldn't be surprised if she's standing right in front of the Sunwell and is like actively corrupting it, and like maybe that's the way the entire cinematic just ends, and like that's the big reveal, she is corrupting the Sunwell with void energies. Kind of like what we saw back in the Void Elf recruitment questline back in the day. And then here we just get a really big close-up of her nose and her eyes, and you see the detail going on there with her eyeballs specifically. Nothing to really note here, it's just cinematic looks good. And here it looks like it's almost getting brighter, as if she's channeling more energy. The void is coming. Reminds me of the tagline they used back for Warlords of Draenor with like the Iron Horde is coming. Remember when they had like that entire taxi or vehicle be crushed beneath Gorehowl? We need fun marketing back for Blizzard, thinking about that. Like, Warlords of Draenor wasn't that good, but my god was the marketing for Warlords of Draenor S tier. God, bring me back. So naturally, we need Xal'atath to crush something IRL. Comment down below with what she should be crushing. And not a single World of Warcraft player will ever see this IRL because none of us go outside, true and real. But hey, it looks cool. Again, it's something short, snappy, and interesting to tide us over until we get to Gamescom for the full cinematic reveal and for them to go into more detail about the actual expansion itself. Midnight has a ton of potential as an expansion. I think The War Within was a great overall time for World of Warcraft. It had its missteps, don't get me wrong, but I think continuing the gameplay trends from Dragonflight, telling a better story in-game, getting the tone, the atmosphere, the aesthetic in a far better place than where it had been previously, I think The War Within did a lot of good. Like I said, it wasn't perfect, but I think it was a massive pivot in the right direction overall for the game. I love the delve feature. I hope they continue that. I'm imagining they're going to. And out of Midnight, I think we need mostly more of that. I would personally like to see a few pivots in overall design philosophy when it comes to the release cadence of patches. They need to shore up the release date of each patch to no longer be a buggy mess. On top of that, I think they should release the tiers of LFR or story mode way earlier than they do, because this is a repeated issue with The War Within and World of Warcraft going for a while now. It's you go in day one wanting to do the story, and it's time gated. You come back next week, and then if you don't already have a group, you have to wait even longer in order to finish that story. It makes for an elegant, consuming experience of the story, takes me right out of it, and kills motivation. Midnight's also going to be the expansion where we properly have housing. It's almost certainly coming out a little bit before Midnight itself properly, but I think one of the best things they could do is consistently update housing over the course of Midnight's release. When Midnight fully comes out, give us a whole host of new housing cosmetics and stuff like that, and then over the course of the patches, give us even more. That is the direction they said they want to go in, where they want to consistently update housing. They said there's going to be a roadmap for housing specifically. I like what they're talking about. Now it's just a matter of follow through. When it comes to the in-game writing, I think they can still shore up a few things, like in 11.2, Illyria constantly yapping about not trusting Xal'atath, and Xal'atath saying, yeah, you shouldn't trust me, and then it all leads up to that betrayal after the Mencius fight. It's like, yeah, okay, but we don't need to repeat things like 15 times over every quest line. The game's gotten far better at characterization, dialogue, pacing, cinematics, the whole overall experience, but there are still things that it can improve on. That's something I hope to see over the course of Midnight, but also I hope we see a massive improvement with 12.0 specifically. And if you want to be up to date with all things World of Warcraft Midnight, you want to be here for the reveal of the cinematic, I'm going to be live streaming it, my reactions on this YouTube channel and on my Twitch. So leave a like and subscribe. Follow me on TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter, Jmulls G. I have a Discord in the description down below. And if you want to hear me rant about what in my opinion is World of Warcraft's most demotivating feature, you should check out this video right here for more. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again!